Hello guys, welcome to yet another Knit Crochet tutorial. The hook is my magic wand. Please subscribe for gorgeous content. Today we are making this very beautiful mesh shell stitch halter top. I love the coverage of it around my cleavage area, and it's really good for those people that worry about their boobs. They're going to fit perfectly in this one. Okay, so this tutorial is very easy, but to get started, let's see the materials that we are going to need for this wonderful halter top. All right, so first of all, I'm going to need a 4.5mm hook, and I'll be working with a pair of scissors and a darning needle, and lastly I will be working with acrylic yarn, size 2 yarn. I'm doubling my strand, so let's get started. So I'm going to get my yarn and make a slip knot, and once I have a slip knot, I'm going to get my hook, insert it into the loop, and I'm going to work 15 chains. All right, so the 15 chains are for the rib of my breast cup. If you're working for sizes large, I would advise about 17 chains instead. Okay, once I have all 15 chains done, I am going to work a double crochet into the third chain stitch from the hook right there. So we'll work one double crochet. So I'm going to continue working one double crochet into every stitch all the way until I have one stitch left to end my row. Okay, so just work one double crochet in every stitch, and you must have 12 double crochets. So I'm going to meet you once you have one stitch left to end the row, then I'll show you what to do. So right here I have my 12 double crochets, so I am going to work 2 double crochets in here, and then I will chain one and then work 2 double crochets once again into this very same stitch. So basically we are going to be having 4 double crochets in this very same stitch, and this is going to be the peak of our breast cup. All right, so from here we are going to be working on the opposite side of the foundation chains. So we shall work 1 double crochet into every chain stitch until we go all the way down, and you must make sure you have 12 double crochets from here. All right, so work your double crochets. I'm going to meet you at the end of the row, then I will show you how to start the next row, and then we can see that you have mastered how to have your breast cups done. So this is how it looks like. I hope you can see it because my light may be too bright for this color, but yes, I hope you saw that. So I'm going to chain 2 to start my next row and turn my work, and into this very first stitch I'm going to work a double crochet and continue working 1 double crochet into every stitch all the way going up until I get to the chain 1 that I worked at the peak of my breast cup. So I'm going to let you guys continue working your 1 double crochet until that chain gap at the top. Then that's where I'm going to meet you and then show you what to do. So as you can see, I have 2 stitches left to get to the chain gap, so I'll work my double crochets as I should. The reason why I'm taking you so fast right here is because I have worked so many projects that require us to first work a breast cup before we work the whole entire project, and I'm sure that most of you that have been following my videos know what to do when it comes to breast cups. So for those that don't, when you get to the chain 1 space, you are going to work 2 double crochets in there, chain 1, and then work 2 double crochets once again in this very same chain gap. And from here we are going to now continue working 1 double crochet into every stitch until we get back all the way down. So this is going to be the last row I am working with you guys. You are just going to be doing the very same thing until you have a breast cup that is wide enough to fit your your boob. All right, so just make sure that you are just working a few more rows. For sizes small, I would advise you work like 4 more rows to have a total of 6 rows. For sizes medium, which I am working for, and at the moment I am a breastfeeding mother, and I feel like this the size that I'm going to work can actually fit me. So in total I worked 8 rows. All right, I worked 8 rows, but for a size small, I think even 5 rows are okay. The fact that it's going to be a halter top, even if you don't work like so many rows that actually cover your boob, it's going to be covering the upper part of your chest and also the lower part. So yes, I would advise 5 rows or 6, but for my size, I am a 38D. But yes, just do this repeatedly until you have a breast cup that fits your boob. So I'm going to get back from there and show you what to do. So yes, this is it. This is what I have, and this is what fits me. All right. So we are going to work along the edge of this just so that we have like a really fine coverage, and also to widen our under bust. Yes, so this is what we are going to do. I'm going to get my hook, and oh, I didn't complete my whole entire row, so let me just complete this and show you what to do. So I'm going to work along this edge. All right, so I will chain 1 and insert my hook into this very same stitch. I will work a single crochet. Now since I'm working along the edge, that means I am working into double crochet posts. Okay, so into this double crochet post I'll work a single crochet, and I'm going to keep working 2 single crochets into every double crochet post. I usually work the first single crochet in between, like in the center or the middle of the post, and then at the bottom of that post. If that is going to confuse you, just work 2 single crochets into every double crochet post all the way until the end of the row. Okay, so that's where I'm going to meet you, then show you what to do next. And here we are at the end of the row. So once you are here, we are now going to work all the way until we get about 2 rows past the rib. The rib is that, the rib that has our foundation chains that we worked for this breast cup. So that's what I'm going to call it, so that you guys don't really get confused. So yes, I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work, and I'm going to work 1 single crochet into every stitch. All right, until I get to being 2 rows past. Okay, I'm going to go all the way up and then get past the rib, which is the foundation chains I worked for my breast cup, and then go 2 more rows after that. Okay, so let me just show you here so that you guys get to understand it. So if you look at this, okay, this line is our rib, and now I'm going to go 2 rows past it right there. That's why I'm going to stop having my single crochets. All right, so I'm going to let you guys work until you get to that point, then I'm going to get back and show you how to end your row. So as you can see, I am almost there. I have like 2-3 stitches to get there. Okay, so what I am going to do for the last 2 stitches that get me to that point, if you check, this is the rib, and now I am like past the first row. Okay, now I'm going to work 2 single crochets together into these last 2 stitches that get me to that row. All right, so we are like 2 rows past the rib. Okay, so once I have 2 single crochets together, I am going to turn my work and then chain 1, skip the first stitch, and work a single crochet into the next stitch. Okay, so I'm going to now continue working 1 single crochet into every stitch until I get back all the way down. So let me get you guys at the end of your row. Once I am at the end of the row, I am going to chain one and turn my work, and I'm going to work one single crochet into the first stitch, and I'll continue working one single crochet into every stitch until I have 2 stitches left to get to the end of my row. All right, so I'm going to let you work your single crochets until you have 2 stitches left to end your row. Then I'll meet you there and show you how to end your row. Okay, now guys, this is how it looks like. This is how your work should look like, and you must follow the very same steps that we have done from start to finish to work your second breast cup, just like I have 2. Okay, so once you have your 2 breast cups, you're going to cut your yarn, okay, and secure this end. Now I'm going to get back and show you how to work the upper bit of our halter top. Now to work the upper bit, this is what we'll do. You'll get to the corner up here and touch your yarn, chain 1, work a single crochet. Now the reason as to why I'm going to first work single crochets or a single crochet for this row is to join the 2 breast cups together at the center of my cleavage. All right, so I'm going to be working 1 single crochet into every stitch until I get to the peak of this breast cup. That's where I'm going to meet you guys right here and show you what to do. So this is it. I am right there at the peak or the chain 1. All right, that's now the chain 1. So I'm going to get into that chain 1, pull through my yarn, get my second breast cup, insert my hook into the chain 1 at the peak of it, also pull through my yarn, then work something I will call 2 single crochets together. So I've joined the 2 cleavages, breast cups together. Now I'm going to continue working 1 single crochet all the way up until the end of this breast cup. Then I will get back. So we start our shell stitch, working all the way up for our halter top. So here we are, and this is how it looks like. All right, okay, now I am going to chain 4. Okay, and once I have 4, I will turn my work. So now I'm going to skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and work a single crochet into the next stitch. All right, and then I'll chain 3, skip 2, into the next I work a single crochet, chain 3, skip 2, work a single crochet into the next stitch. So this you are going to do until you are close to the peak, or what, I don't know how I'm going to call this time, because now it's no longer the peak. But yes, let's work all the way down until we get to the slope, like into the valley, into the dip. Yes, that's where I'm going to meet you guys. I'm really going to work this slow, so I'm not going to be like making it like run super fast, because this stitch is a little bit confusing, more so for this kind of design. So as you can see, I am really close, so I will chain 3, skip 2, work a single crochet into this stitch. Now from here you can see that now I have to skip these 2 stitches, but then now this is where I have to work the stitch and I cannot. So I'm going to cross over and count 2 stitches on the other end of the breast cup, the opposite breast cup. Okay, now this that I had worked as a single crochet is not going to be complete, so I'll skip these 4 stitches and work 2 single crochets together, all right, into that stitch. So see closely, all right, and pull through my yarn. I'll pull through all 3 loops to like bring that together. All right, that's more like a decrease. So we are not going to be decreasing on the sides, we are going to be decreasing in the dip right here. It's going to be enough to like give us that kind of decrease that we want, that should go all the way up our chest. All right, so I'm going to keep working 3 chains, skip 2, work a single crochet into the next, and I will do this until I am all the way up at the end of my breast cup. So unfortunately I have 2 stitches at the end of my row, but then I'm going to chain 2 and work a half double crochet into the very last stitch. So I'll take it like I have 3 stitches and I've skipped 2 and worked into the last stitch. All right, but if your stitches add up, the better. So now for the next row I'm going to chain 3. So the chain 3 is more like to have 2 stitches act as a stitch, and then the one is for the chain gap. Remember, a full chain gap has to have 3 chains, then the half of it will have 1. I hope that is like clear for you to understand. So after that I'll chain 3 and work a single crochet into the next chain gap. Again I'll chain 3, work a single crochet into the next chain gap. Now to start my first shell, I am going to skip 1 and work into the single crochet stitch right there. Okay, so into the single crochet stitch I'm going to work 5 double crochets, all in this very same stitch. So basically this is our very first shell, and all our shells are going to consist of 5 double crochets. All right, so once you have your 5 double crochets done, we are now going to work a single crochet into the next chain gap. All right, then we shall chain 3, work a single crochet in the next chain gap, chain 3, work a single crochet into the next chain gap. I want 3 chain gaps before I work my next shell. So we chain 3, work a single crochet in the next chain gap, and now once I have 3 chain gaps, I am going to work 5 double crochets into the single crochet stitch that is closest to me right there. Okay, the shell stitch is really sometimes tricky, but at least if you're getting the visuals, it will be very easy for you. So we have 5 double crochets and I will work a single crochet into the next chain gap. All right, now as you can see, I have these 2 chain gaps and I'm just right at the dip. So here I'll chain 3, work 2 single crochets together into the next 2 chain gaps. So I will work an incomplete single crochet and then cross over to the next chain gap for this breast cup and pull through my yarn, then yarn over, pull through all 3. All right, so from here I'm going to chain 3, work a single crochet into this chain gap. As you can see on the other side, I have 1 chain gap, then a shell. So I'm going to do the very same thing on this side. So into this next single crochet stitch, I'm going to work 5 double crochets, all in this very same stitch, so that I work my first shell on this breast cup, okay, on this side of the breast cup. Once I have that, I'm going to work a single crochet into the next chain gap. All right, then I'm going to resume with chaining 3 and working a single crochet into the next chain gap for the next 3 chain gaps, because I told you I want 3 chain gaps before a shell. Okay, so that is 1, chain 3, work a single crochet into the next chain gap. Those are 2. All right, we have 3. All right, so we chain 3 once again, work a single crochet into that chain gap, and now we yarn over into the next single crochet stitch. We work 5 double crochets all in that very same stitch. So this is to work our shell, second shell. Okay, there we go. So we work a single crochet into that chain gap, then chain 3, skip those stitches, work a single crochet into the next chain gap. Now once we get here, we are going to chain 3. Remember, we started with 4 chains when starting the row, so we need to have that half of the chain gap. Okay, so we chain 1 and then work a half double crochet into the second chain stitch of the 4 that started the previous row. All right, so basically half a chain gap is you chain 1 and the full chain gap is you chain 3. All right, so now for this row we must have a full chain gap, so I'm going to chain 5. All right, and then skip the very first chain gap, which is the half, then go into the second chain gap and work a single crochet. Now chain 3, work a single crochet into the next chain gap, chain 3, skip 4, work a single crochet into the third chain stitch, into the third double crochet stitch of the 5 that were of the first shell. Okay, now chain 3, skip those stitches, work a single crochet into the next chain gap, chain 3, work a single crochet in the next chain gap, chain 3, work a single crochet into the next chain gap. All right, now we are working just a normal row of just chains, okay, or chain gaps. Chain 3, work a single crochet into the third double crochet stitch of the 5 double crochets that were for this shell. Okay, now once we get here, we must work a decrease, so we work we chain 3 and work 2 single crochets together into the next 2 chain gaps. All right, now we are going to resume the very same thing on this side that we have worked on the other side. So just chain 3, work into the third double crochet stitch. Okay, then chain 3, work into the next chain gap, work a single crochet in the next chain gap, and that's what you're going to do all the way until you come to the end of your row. So once you get to the end of your row, right here, you will chain 3. Now go into the second chain stitch of the 3 that started the previous row. Just find your way in there and then work a half double crochet. So far this is what we have. See the shells and the mesh. Okay, so we are going to be working a normal row of just the mesh. Now at this point I am going to chain 3. Why? Because 2 of the chains will act as a stitch and then the 1 is for the chain gap, more like half a chain gap, because that's where we are going to have it. All right, then now we chain 3, work a single crochet into the next chain gap, chain 3, work a single crochet into the next, chain 3, work a single crochet in the next chain gap. So we do this repeatedly until we get all the way down to the dip. That's where I'm going to meet you at the cleavage and show you how to maneuver. So as you can see, I have 1 chain gap left to cross over to the other side, and I need to have a decrease here. So I'm going to chain 3 into this chain gap, and the next I'm going to work 2 single crochets together like that. Now from here I'm going to just do the very exact thing I have been doing previously. Chain 3, work a single crochet into the next chain gap, and I'll do that until I get to the end of the row. So I'm going to get back and show you how to end your row. Now here I am almost at the end of my row, so I'm going to chain 3. You see what we have? Remember, I have to have that half of a chain gap, so I'm going to first work my single crochet into this chain gap, then chain 1, work a half double crochet into the second chain stitch of the 4 chains or 5 chains that started the previous row. So far this is how my work looks like. Okay, now for my next shelves I'm going to alternate them. One will go here and the other will be at the start of the row. Okay, so let me show you how we get that. So I'm going to chain 1, turn my work and skip 1, then work 5 double crochets into the single crochet that is right at the start of my row. Okay, I'm going to work 5 double crochets. So this is my very first shell. Okay, now I'm going to work a single crochet into the next chain gap. See that? So from here I'm going to chain 3, then I'll work a single crochet into the next chain gap, chain 3, work a single crochet into the next chain gap, and I need 3 chain gaps before I work my next shell. So once I have 3 chain gaps, I'm going to work 5 double crochets into this single crochet stitch right there. So I'll work 5 double crochets. See what we have? Work your 5 double crochets. So this is our second shell on this side of this breast cap. Once you have all 5, you're going to work a single crochet into the next chain gap, and then we shall chain 3, work a single crochet into the next chain gap. Now the next chain gap is closest to the dip, so I'll chain 3 and then work 2 single crochets together into the next 2 chain gaps right there, just like that. Okay, so now from here I'm going to copy exactly what I've done on this side. I'm going to work 2 chain gaps before I work my next shell. Okay, so we chain 3 once again and work a single crochet into the next chain gap, and then we work our shell. So we are going to work 5 double crochets into this single crochet stitch. And once done, we shall work a single crochet into the next chain gap. Then I'm going to work my 3 chains, work a single crochet into the next chain gap, chain 3. Once again, work a single crochet into the next chain gap, chain 3. Work a single crochet into the next chain gap. Remember, we have 3 chain gaps before our next shell. Okay, just like we have on this side. So we are going to work a single crochet into this chain gap. Okay, now to end the row, we are going to work 5 double crochets into that single crochet stitch right there. Remember the previous row we started with 3 chains and 2 of them act as a stitch. Okay, so we are going to work our 5 double crochets into this chain gap, and those are 4, now 5. Once we have 5 double crochets, we are going to find our way into the second chain stitch of the 3 that started the previous row, and in there we insert our hook and work a single crochet to end our row. Just like that. We have alternated our shells. Okay, you see they are not like parallel. So now we are going to chain 3, turn our work, and we are going to work a single crochet into the third double crochet stitch of the 5 that were for this shell. All right, right there we work a single crochet. And now for this row, I'm just going to be working just the normal mesh, because I'm working 2 rows of just normal mesh, the normal mesh stitch, before I work shells on the next row. Okay, so I'm just going to be working just the normal diamond mesh stitch on this row and the next, then I'll work the mesh on the next row after that. So basically it's just the normal chain 3, work a single crochet into the next stitch, chain 3, work a single crochet into the next double crochet stitch, the third double crochet stitch of the 5. So once we get here in the dip, we are going to chain 3 and then work 2 single crochets together into the next 2 chain gaps. Okay, then we shall resume with chain 3, work a single crochet into the next chain gap, chain 3, work a single crochet into the third double crochet stitch of the 5 that were for that shell. Okay, then continue all the way. I'm just going to meet you at the end of the row, then show you what to do. I'm right here and I'm going to chain 3, work my single crochet into the third double crochet stitch of the 5 double crochets that we had for that shell, and then to end the row I'll chain 1 and work a half double crochet into the chain 1 that started the previous row. Okay, so this is what we have. Now I'm just going to work a normal row of just the chain gaps for this row as well, so I'm going to chain 5, or you can chain 4. I usually just chain 4 because I don't want a big chain gap when starting the row, so I just deduct 1 chain, but they have to be 5. Okay, so work a single crochet into the second chain gap and then chain 3, work a single crochet into the next chain gap, and do this. Once you get to the dip, you work 2 single crochets together into the next 2 chain gaps and just follow the very same thing until you get to the end of your row. I'm going to let you work this row on your own. I'm just going to get back and show you how to work the next set of shells. So far it looks good. This is how it looks like, and now we are going to be working the next set of shells. So this is what we are going to do. Here we shall chain 3 and turn our work a single crochet into this very first chain gap. Okay, remember I want to alternate my shells. Okay, so I'm going to chain 3, work a single crochet into this next chain gap. Okay, I'm now going to chain 3 once again and work a single crochet into the next chain gap. Now as you can see, I will have my shell aligned to the very first row of shells. Okay, if I work my shell into this next single crochet right there. So I'm going to, because I want it to match this first row of shells, so I'm going to work 5 double crochets into this single crochet stitch. All right. And from here I'm going to work my single crochet into the next chain gap. Why I did not start with a shell is I really want to have 3 chain gaps before a shell. Okay, and if you count clearly, this is what I really had to do. So chain 3, work a single crochet into the next chain gap, and once you get to the dip, we chain 3 and then work 2 single crochets together into the next 2 chain gaps right there. So we just copy what we have done on this side onto the other side. Here we chain 3, work a single crochet into the next chain gap. So we have 2 chain gaps. on the other side. So we shall chain 3 to work our second chain gap. So we work a single crochet into the next chain gap, and you see it is followed by a shell. So also on this side we work 5 double crochets into the next single crochet stitch, just like that. And once we have all 5, we are going to work a single crochet into the next chain gap, and then chain 3, work a single crochet in the next chain gap, chain 3, work a single crochet into the next chain gap right there. Now here I'll chain 1 just like we have on this side. So chain 1, work a half double crochet into the second chain stitch of the 4 chain stitches that started the previous row. So we have our row of shells. Now that means for the next row I'm just going to be working the normal mesh stitch. So I'm going to chain 4. I'll skip the first chain gap and work a single crochet into the next chain gap. Then I'll chain 3, work a single crochet into the next chain gap, and chain 3, skip 2 and work a single crochet into the third double crochet stitch of that shell. Then chain 3, I'll skip all those stitches, then work into the next chain gap. Now once you get here, this is what we shall do. We shall chain 3 and we shall work 2 single crochets together into the next 2 chain gaps, just like that. Okay, now just copy what we have done on the other side onto this side and end your row, and I'm just going to get back and take you through what to do on the next row, literally the same thing that we have done here. Then I'll show you how to work the bottom of the top. So yes, to end your row, this is what you will do. You are going to chain 3 and then work a half double crochet into the second chain stitch of the 3 that started the previous row. Okay, so that's how you end your row. Now to start the next row, we are going to chain 3 and turn our work. Then work a single crochet into this very first chain gap, and so we shall chain 3 and work a single crochet into the next chain gap, chain 3, work a single crochet in the next chain gap, and we are just going to do this repeatedly until we get to the dip right there. So we are going to work 2 single crochets together into these next 2 chain gaps. So we chain 3, work 2 single crochets together into the next 2 chain gaps, and then we are going to chain 3 and resume with the working a single crochet into the next chain gap until we come to the end of the row. So to end this row, we shall chain 1 and work a half double crochet into the third chain stitch of the 4 or 5 chains that started the previous row. Okay, so I feel like we have the length that I want at the top of my, at the top, you know, like the upper bit of my top, because if we go any more higher, we are going to like get past the neck, so it won't be fitting perfectly. So I feel like these rows are just enough. If you put it on, if you try it on and you feel like there are many, you can take off 2 rows. Like you can undo like 2 rows just to like decrease the length. Okay, now we are now going to work on the bottom of our top, but you can see how the shells are popping and I love it. So here I'm just going to work a few chains for my strap. Okay, and I'll get back to secure it a little more so it is like thick or stronger, so we just don't have like a string that will hurt the back of our neck when we are like tying it, or secure it for those with bigger busts so it is strong enough to like hold up our boobs. Okay, so work your chains here and there, then I'm going to get back and work the bottom of the top. So to work the bottom of my top, I'm going to get to one end right here, insert my hook and pull through yarn, chain 1, work a single crochet into this very first stitch. Okay, so here we go. Now I'm going to be working 1 single crochet into every single crochet post that we worked along this edge. Okay, and I'm going to make sure I am working one single crochet until I get to the stitches right there at the bottom of this breast cup, and still I'll be working one single crochet into every stitch. So I'm going to make sure that all these single crochet posts I worked on the side of my breast cup just have one single crochet into them, just like that. So I'm going to do this all the way for all these stitches until I am about 5 stitches to get to the peak right there. So I'll count 5 and mark the 5th, and then I will make sure these 5 stitches are not worked. All right, so I've worked my single crochets, as you can see, and I have 5 stitches unworked. All right, so I'm going to chain 5 and then cross over to my next breast cup and skip 5 stitches. Then into the 6th stitch I'm going to work a single crochet, and I'm going to resume working one single crochet just like I did on the other side. I'm going to resume working one single crochet into every stitch, and I'll do this until I get to the end of my row right there. So that's why I'm going to meet you and show you what to do. So at this point I'm going to start working my mesh shell stitch. So I will chain 4 and turn my work. I'm going to skip 2 stitches, okay? Into the 4th stitch I will work a single crochet, then chain 3, skip 2, into the next I'll work a single crochet, chain 3, skip 2, and work a single crochet into the next stitch, and do this repeatedly across this whole entire row until you come to the end of your row. So I'm going to meet you once you get at the end of your row right there, then I'll show you what to do next. Now here we are, this is how it looks like. Okay, so I think we can now get to start feeding in our shells. Okay, and to start this row I'm going to chain 3. Okay, and I'll work a single crochet into this first chain gap, chain 3, work a single crochet into the next chain gap, and then chain 3, work a single crochet into that chain gap. Now here I'm going to work my first shell, so I will work 5 double crochets into the next single crochet stitch, and once I have all 5 double crochets I am going to work a single crochet into the next chain gap. Okay, so into that chain gap I work a single crochet, chain 3, work a single crochet in the next chain gap, chain 3. So this time I want to have 4 chain gaps before my next shell. Okay, so I'm going to chain 3 and work a single crochet into the next until I have 4 chain gaps. But the number of chain gaps you skip before your next shell is up to you. I just wanted to change the number of my shells since this is the bottom of the top. So now once I have my 4 chain gaps I'm going to work 5 double crochets into the next single crochet stitch right there, and then I'll work a single crochet into the next chain gap, and I'm going to resume to chain 3, work a single crochet into the next chain gap. I'll do this for the next 3 chains, so I have a total of 4 chain gaps before I work my next shell. See that? So we chain 3 once again, work a single crochet into the next chain gap, and once we have that we are going to now work as 5 double crochets into that single crochet stitch. All right, and once you have all 5 double crochet stitches we are going to work a single crochet into the next chain gap. So you are going to do this repeatedly until you come to the end of your row. All right, this is not any different from what we have been doing previously for the upper bit of our top. So let me meet you at the end of the row, then show you how to start the next row. So this is how my work looks like. Here I ended with a chain 1, then worked a half double crochet into the 3rd chain stitch. The 2nd chain stitch of the 4 that started the previous row. So now to start my next row, I am going to chain 4. I chain 4 because I don't want a huge chain gap, but they have to be 5, okay? So I'm going to chain 4 and work a single crochet into the second chain gap right there. Then I'll chain 3, skip all those stitches, then work a single crochet into the third chain stitch of the 5 double crochets that were for that shell. And I will chain 4, skip and go to the next chain gap, work a single crochet. Then I'm just going to keep working 3 chains, work a single crochet into the next chain gap, and I'll do this all the way. So once here, I will chain 3, work a single crochet into the third double crochet stitch of that shell, okay, and continue working, chaining 3 and working a single crochet into the next chain gap. So this is what we are going to do all the way across this row until we come to the end of our row right there, and I'll meet you once you have that done, then show you what to do. So here we are, okay. This is what I have. Now to start my next row, I am going to chain 3 and work a single crochet into the very first chain gap, then chain 3, work a single crochet into the next chain gap, chain 3, work a single crochet into the next chain gap, and chain 3, work a single crochet in the next chain gap. And I'm just going to do this all the way for every chain gap until I come to the end of my row. So this time, to end your row, you will chain 1 and then work a half double crochet into the second chain stitch of the 4 that started the previous row, okay? So basically this row is just normal mesh, okay, no shells whatsoever. So I'm going to meet you at the end of your row right here and show you what to do next. So here we have it. I'm just going to show you how to work this row of the shells, then I'll let you just copy and paste what we have been doing for the previous rows to work a few more rows until you have the length of the top that you desire. So for this row, I am going to chain 4 and work a single crochet into the second chain gap, okay? Then I'll chain 3, work a single crochet into the next chain gap. So for this row, I want to like interchange where my shells are going to be. So I'll chain 3 and work a single crochet into the next chain gap. So you see what we have? I have my 4 chain gaps that I want. So into this single crochet stitch, I'm going to have my shell worked. So I'll work 5 double crochets into this single crochet stitch, because this time I want to like change where my shells are going to be, just like I did for the upper bit of my top, okay? So this time the shell is being worked in between the 2 shells of in between the shells of the previous row of shells that we worked. So chain 3, work a single crochet into the next chain gap until you have 4 chain gaps, then you can work your shell, okay? So I'm not going to have this row done with you guys. Now that you have mastered how to work your shells and also how to place them, I'm going to let you work your project until you have the length of the top that you desire. I'm just going to get back and show you how to work all the way around to have our straps secured and also our edges finely worked. Then I will get this done with, okay? So just a quick reminder, I have my row of shells worked. So after every row of shells, you are going to be working 2 rows of just the mesh stitch. So copy and paste what we have done previously for the recent 2 rows after we worked our very first row of shells, then paste it on here and work until you have the length of your top. So this is how my work looks like. I have finished working to the length that I want for my top, and you can see how my shells are like placed. Okay, one here, one is there. And now to work the final row, basically I'm going to have scallops worked over this row as well, but just to work more like the final row, you will chain 4 and work as a double crochet into the first chain gap, then chain 2, work a double crochet into the next chain gap, chain 2, work a double crochet, because remember we were skipping 2 stitches at the bottom and then working a single crochet. So just like that, we are going to be doing the very same thing. For the chain gaps, we're working 3 chains just to have them curve up like that. So here we are going to be chaining 2 and working a double crochet into the next chain gap. Okay, so just do this repeatedly until you get to the end of your row. If you want, this should be your very last row, but I just love a clean edge, so I'll be working scallops over this edge, over this row, after working all the way along the edges. So I'm going to let you work your row of double crochets. Just make sure you're chaining 2 and working a double crochet into the next chain gap and have it look like this. Okay, so let me meet you once you have this done. So this is it, and I have my row complete. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work several chains for my strap or strings that are going to tie it at the back of my top. So once I have the string that I want, the length of the string that I want, I'm going to work a single crochet into the 3rd chain stitch from the hook, and I'll be chaining 2 and skipping 2, working a single crochet into the next chain stitch. So I'm just going to do this all the way for my strap until I get back now to the top. Okay, so just do this until you get back to the top, then I'll show you how to work along the edge. So this is it. This is how it looks like. Okay, now I'm back at the edge of my top. All right, so I'm going to be working 2 single crochets into every half double crochet post. Okay, or you just work your single crochets in a way that you feel they are not too many along the edge and they are rightfully placed, giving you a straight edge, very clean and straight. Okay, so just work your single crochets until you get at the top of the mesh, okay, or where we started our underbust, because I need 2 straps right there. I want one at the bottom of the top and one at the start of our underbust. Okay, so I'm going to meet you right there and show you what to do. So I'm just going to work 1 more single crochet so I get to the corner up there, and once there I'm going to work chains that are long enough for my strap and do the very same thing that I did for this strap. Okay, so I have my string worked, as you can see, and now I am going to chain 1, then work a single crochet now onto the edge of my top, and I'm going to now work single crochets all the way to the top until I get to the top of my work all the way up here. So as you can see, my edge looks really clean and I love it. So I am going to do the very same thing for this strap that I've been doing for other straps. All right, I will chain 2, work a single crochet into the next, skip 2, work a single crochet into the next chain stitch, chain 2, skip 2, work a single crochet in the next chain stitch. So I am going to do this repeatedly until I get to the top of my strap. So you will do this all the way until the top of the strap, and then get over the top and now start working on the opposite side of these chains. So I'll get back so we can work single crochets along this edge and then to the other strap. So you see, this is how my strap looks like. Okay, now I'm going to work my single crochets along this edge. Into every chain gap I'm going to be working 2 single crochets, all right, and then 1 single crochet into that single crochet stitch, 2 single crochets into the next chain gap, and 1 single crochet into the next stitch. And I'm going to do this all the way until I get to the dip. 2 single crochets into the chain gap and 1 single crochet into that stitch. So once I get to the dip right there, I'm going to work 1 single crochet and then 2 single crochets together into this chain gap and the next chain gap. Okay, so I insert my hook, pull through yarn, and work my 2 single crochets together. Then I will work 1 single crochet and do the very same exact thing I did the other side onto this side until I get to the end of my row, and then I will work along the strap that I had, the chains that I had worked for my strap. Okay, and once here I am going to resume just like I did for the previous strap, and then do exactly what I did on the other side of my top. Okay, so basically that is how you work your shell stitch halter top, and I hope you loved something, and I hope you made your top just the right way. Okay, so I'm just going to share with you how it looks like and how it turned out. I love mine, it fits perfectly for my size. All right, so thank you so much for watching. Let me see you all in my next tutorial. Thank you so much. Goodbye.